Good evening, and welcome back to WNBA Trending. I'm your host, Ava, and tonight we dive into a candid and eye-opening revelation from Indiana Fever star Aliyah Boston. For months, the spotlight in women's basketball has been overwhelmingly centered on Caitlin Clark, the sensational rookie who has transformed the WNBA's visibility and fan engagement. But behind the highlights, the record-breaking ticket sales, and the massive viewership numbers, lies another story, one that's deeply human, vulnerable, and refreshingly honest. Aliyah Boston, the 2023 WNBA Rookie of the Year and a cornerstone of the Fever's rebuilding project, has opened up about what it truly feels like to share the floor with Clark. While many assume the partnership is only positive, a perfect blend of young superstars destined to lift Indiana to new heights, Boston's recent comments reveal the very real challenges, pressures, and expectations that come with playing alongside one of the most hyped players in women's sports history. Boston spoke in detail during a sit-down interview earlier this week. She didn't shy away from acknowledging that Clark's arrival changed everything, not just for the Fever as a franchise, but for every player in that locker room. Suddenly, every game became a national headline. Every play was analyzed on social media. And every win or loss was magnified under the kind of microscope usually reserved for the NBA. Boston admitted, quote, "The pressure is real. Playing with Caitlin means people expect perfection every night. When she shines, the world notices. But when things don't click, everyone has an opinion. And as her teammate, you feel that weight too. You want to support her, but at the same time, you're trying to carve your own space in this league." It's an honest confession that cuts through the glossy narratives often pushed by fans and the media. For Boston, the transition has been as much mental as it has been physical. The South Carolina alum is no stranger to the big stage. She was a national champion, a #1 overall draft pick, and an instant star in her rookie season. But playing with Caitlin Clark, she says, has introduced an entirely new dimension of scrutiny. Let's take a closer look at what this dynamic means. On one hand, Clark's presence has undeniably elevated Boston's visibility. With sellout crowds and primetime broadcasts, Boston is playing in front of more eyes than ever before. On the other hand, when the national conversation is dominated by Clark, Boston often has to fight for recognition, despite being one of the league's most efficient and impactful bigs. Boston put it this way: "People forget sometimes that basketball is a team game. Caitlin is incredible, but we're not going anywhere if I don't do my job, if Nalissa Smith doesn't do her job, if Kelsey Mitchell doesn't step up. We're building something together, but the outside world often frames it as Caitlin versus the world. That can be hard." Those comments highlight a deeper truth. Clark's superstardom has been both a blessing and a challenge for her teammates. For Boston, the balance is learning to thrive in a partnership where the spotlight may shine brighter on her teammate, but where her own role is equally vital to the Fever's success. This isn't the first time Boston has been candid about challenges. Throughout her career, she has been praised for her authenticity, her willingness to speak openly about the pressures of professional basketball, and her ability to balance competitiveness with grace. But her latest remarks shed light on something fans rarely hear: how the media narrative surrounding a superstar can affect the players around her. Clark herself has acknowledged Boston's importance. The two have developed a growing chemistry, with Clark repeatedly pointing out that her best games come when she and Boston are in sync. Analysts often describe their pick-and-roll partnership as one of the most promising young duos in the WNBA. Yet, as Boston explained, chemistry doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, communication, and a mutual understanding of each other's roles. And make no mistake, the Fever's resurgence depends on this duo. After years of struggle, the franchise finally has two foundational stars. Boston's inside dominance and defensive presence complement Clark's shooting range and playmaking ability. But the challenge is finding the right balance, where both players can shine without one overshadowing the other. Boston admitted that the pressure sometimes weighs on her in unexpected ways. "When I step on the court, I know fans are watching Caitlin's every move. That's the reality. But for me, I have to remind myself, do your job. Control what you can control. If I defend, rebound, and score in the paint, everything else falls into place. But yes, there are moments you feel the world isn't paying attention to that. Her honesty is resonating with many fans who admire her courage to speak up. Social media reactions to her interview have been overwhelmingly supportive, with countless fans praising her transparency. Many point out that Boston's words reflect the hidden side of sports, the mental and emotional challenges that come with being in the orbit of a generational talent. But here's the crucial point. Boston isn't expressing resentment. Far from it. She made it clear that she's proud to play with Clark, excited for what they can achieve, and grateful for the growth of women's basketball. Her message wasn't one of complaint, but of balance, a reminder that behind the headlines, every player has their own journey, their own pressures, and their own role in making a team successful. Looking ahead, the Fever are positioned to be one of the WNBA's most exciting teams for years to come. If Clark and Boston continue to build their chemistry, Indiana could become a perennial contender. But as Boston's remarks remind us, success isn't just about talent. It's about managing expectations, supporting one another, and navigating the intense pressure that comes with the spotlight. As this story unfolds, one thing is clear: Aliyah Boston's voice matters. She's not just a rising star on the court, she's also a leader off it. By speaking her truth, she's reminding the basketball world that behind every superstar is a team of players working just as hard, carrying their own pressures, and striving for their own place in the game's history. And perhaps that's the bigger lesson here. Caitlin Clark may be the headline, but Aliyah Boston is the foundation. Together, they represent the future of the Fever and the future of women's basketball. That's all for today's feature. I'm Ava, and this has been WNBA Trending. Stay tuned for more stories, insights, and updates from across the league.